You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. Here it is Tuesday, October 15th. We're halfway through the month. We're heading toward Halloween. And Claire's actually keeping me company today as we do the broadcast. So that's very, very pleasant as well here. And the phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. And Mike is in our control room ready to answer the phone, put you on there with your comments, questions, and observations. Before I get into the news, though, a couple of public shout-outs here because yes, we get a lot of donations for which we're all very grateful. But lately, we have people who are sending us clothing, heavy winter clothing. And one of our listeners sent me these T-shirts like this old guy's rule. But the best one arrived this morning, and it's two very heavy lined winter jackets, which we're definitely going to need here to get through this first winter. So thanks to everybody who understands that coming from Hawaii to Indiana, there's a certain thermal coefficient shock that kind of goes along with that. All right, I want to talk a little bit about this impeachment process. Frankly, from where I'm sitting, it feels like it's falling apart. And the Democrats are definitely losing the narrative. So right now, Adam Schiff is out there saying that the public has no right to observe the impeachment inquiry. It's none of your business. He says it would allow Republicans to fabricate testimony. Now, that's not what's going on. The case is falling apart. They don't have an impeachable offense. Nancy Pelosi is saying they do not need a vote in the House of Representatives to conduct the impeachment inquiry. They're just charging right ahead. You know, to get the Donald. We got to get Donald, he says. Now, the Constitution sets a very high bar for the impeachment and removal of a president, and you're not allowed to do it just because you don't like the guy. So, apparently, immediately following his outburst about no right to observe the impeachment inquiry, Schiff, through Representative Matt Gaetz, kicked him out of the inquiry hearing, saying he's not really on any of the relevant committees here. He doesn't need to be here. And of course, Matt is out there saying, what are the Democrats so afraid of? And I think the answer is becoming obvious. This is not playing well with the American people. The American people are saying, this is just an attack on the president. This is an attack on POTUS. And now Adam Schiff is out there saying that Congress may not need to interview the whistleblower after all. They're just going to have him write down, what he says. And they're saying, we've got this other data that we can use to go on in there. And, we have to protect the identity of the whistleblower, which is not how it's normally done. When people blow the whistle on government wrongdoing, their names become famous. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, so forth and so on. But what we're looking at here is this process right out of a third world country of secret trials, secret witnesses, secret proceedings. It's a star chamber. It's no longer the House of Representatives. It's the star chamber brought back to life. And they seem to be in a bit of a race to try and get Trump before some of the indictments over Spygate come on out. And that's what's spooking them. So it's a race. It's a race, dueling indictment. Ding, 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 ding. No, we're going to arrest you first. No, we're going to arrest you first here. Now, story that came on out from One American News Network, where President Trump is threatening to sue Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi over the impeachment. He's obviously ticked off and he has every right to be. But if anybody from the White House is listening to this broadcast, this would be a bad move. Right now, Pelosi and Schiff are seen as the bad people, ones who are wasting everybody's time, effort, energy, and money on this ridiculous so-called impeachment process. If Trump sues them, they will exploit that to regain their victim status. Oh, he's just picking on us. He's being evil. Don't give them the opportunity. Don't open that door for them. And of course, the other stuff that's coming on out has to do with Joe Biden and behavior of his very rich family here. Apparently, DC's Atlantic Council was raking in funding from Hunter Biden's corruption-stained employer while courting Joe Biden as vice president. And this was all this arrangement between the Atlantic Council and Burisma. And it's just one dubious deal out of many that's been coming out of a DC think tank that's a clearinghouse for legal corruption. That's what they're doing there over in Washington, D.C. We want to engage in corruption. How do we make it legal so we don't go to jail? Now, interestingly enough, there's a video that's out there. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Hunter Biden admits on video that he would not have been on the Burisma board except Joe Biden's position as vice president. Classic nepotism. Here's another one that people need to pay attention to. Apparently, Hunter Biden was a paid consultant to MBNA starting at age 31. And he got that job just as his father, Joe Biden, was pushing legislation to promote the credit card industry. So this is how politics works in DC, and it's all incredibly corrupt. Now, Hunter Biden is trying to do some damage control, show some contrition. And so he released a statement that he is now going to step down from this Chinese-backed private equity firm, but he's going to hang on to the money anyway. Apparently, Hunter made the deal during a trip to China with his father on Air Force Two. Now, for those who don't get that reference here, Air Force One is the aircraft carrying the President of the United States of America. Air Force Two is the designation for the aircraft carrying the Vice President. And yeah, they flew to China on official business, apparently. Joe Biden as the Vice President. Miley was there. Hunter Biden, got this sweetheart deal here. Okay, another article here. Everybody's talking about 2020 and what's going on. There's a story out there now saying that polls are showing that if Michelle Obama were to step into the Democratic race right now, she would lead in the polls. But after seeing the way that Fox News missampled their last poll, I'm not sure I'm going to believe that. She'd be a terrible president. She'd be worse than her husband. She doesn't have the skill set. At least with Hillary, she had been a lawyer. She had some background. What's Michelle done other than stand on camera and look good? So anyway, in this story that came out of Reuters, Biden's backers are starting to get very, very nervous that Biden is not holding his own in these debates over these corruption scandals. And They're describing him as bringing a knife to a gunfight. This is from John Morgan, a Florida trial lawyer, and one of the leading fundraisers for Biden. But they're losing confidence in him. I'm sure a lot of them are turning toward, a lot of people are still saying Elizabeth Warren could be the nominee. I don't see how that could happen. I don't see how that could happen. Now, the real surprise here is that Michael Bloomberg has reversed his previous decision not to run for president. And he's basically said that in light of Joe Biden's suddenly being neck and neck in the polls against Elizabeth Warren, that he may step back in to the crowded field. Now, wouldn't that shake everything up? I'm not a big Bloomberg fan, but at least he knows how to do the job, knows the machinery. And I got to be very honest, I would probably support Bloomberg over Trump at this point. Trump has become such a disappointment. Now, of course, if Hillary comes back on in and becomes the nominee, I'm going to have to support Trump. I absolutely do not want Hillary there in that White House. All righty, another article. John Brennan is desperate. He knows he's going to be indicted. Now, yesterday we were reporting on this claim that the Inspector General report would be released this Friday, and we were all going to find out to what extent we've all been lied to. Well, apparently not. They're saying there's going to be a delay because classifications are being made. In other words, this report of the Inspector General, they're already redacting parts of it that they don't think you, the American people, should be seeing. You might get upset at how the politicians have been behaving. I know I certainly am. Project Veritas has scored big. They're out with these hidden camera videos that were made by this very, very brave CNN insider, Carrie Poach, who works at CNN's Washington, D.C. bureau, basically wore this camera around, a hidden camera, and recorded the bias. Jeff Zucker's got a personal vendetta against Trump. And the current video is out in two parts, both of which are linked to the front page of whatreallyhappened.com. And the CNN leadership and staffers reveal their true sentiments. They're all hardcore liberals. They're already picking their favorite candidates even before the debates happen. They don't care what's said in the debates. I want this one. They look good. They support trainee rights and so forth and so on. And this has led to this article from Activist Post, which I think has a title that says it all. The Rise and Fall of CNN, the most busted name in news. Okay, now over at Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson has gone public admitting he was hired to investigate Trump in the fall of 2015, a year before the election actually happened. He's also claiming that all the memos generated from the Steele dossier given directly to Barack Obama. So, nasty business there. All right, let's see. We're going to take a phone call. Steve in West Virginia. Aloha, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Steve, are you there? Oh, there you are.
Yes, Mike, can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Yesterday you were talking about we may not have enough gold to go to a gold standard.
Yes.
Well, according to Jim Records, all we have to do is adjust the price, adjust the value.
Yeah.
So if gold is $2,500 an ounce, then we have enough, or whatever it may be, $4,000 an ounce.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Bob Moriarty had a good article a while back on his 321 site where it says 9 out of 10 Americans have never even held a gold coin in their hands. So most people are not interested in gold. It's not going to, it's not like when we were attached to gold, when the dollar was attached to gold. So I don't think it makes that much of a difference what the price is.
Well, what they would have to do is if they're going to inflate the price like that, then we're going to see a return to literally gold chips embedded in plastic cards. Otherwise, you're going to be losing this stuff all over the ground.
Yeah, that we could happen. Yeah. The other thing I want to ask you about is, I'm sure you're familiar with Deagle.com. It's like a military contractor site and has projections on population and stuff.
I'm actually not, but I'm going to take a look.
Deagle.com. And the reason I bring it up is because if you look at the population projections for, 20 countries, including the United States, it projects us to only have 99 million people by the year 2025. So
where are those 2/3 surplus going to go? Are they going to be killed up in the World War? Is somebody planning an artificial pandemic? I mean, that's a huge population reduction. And I know it's exactly in line with what the Georgia Guidestones are saying.
Yeah, but it's mostly the United States. So if you wanted to reduce the population, the best place to reduce it would be in China or India, because there's too many people crammed in both places there. So
yes,
why would you? I mean, what do you think about that? Why is that number like that?
I think it's because that part of the globalist agenda is a redistribution of wealth. And certainly that's been part of the agenda behind the global warming cult, where they're out there with all these Paris Accords saying that all the rich countries, the countries who have built factories, who have built infrastructure, that we have to somehow divide that all up and send it over to these third world countries where they basically they haven't done the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you look at where all the pollution and everything, I mean, I've been to India twice, and it's just a filthy place. I mean, nice people, but it is an absolutely filthy place. And I would think, if you wanted to reduce the population anywhere, that might be the place. But I mean, I just wanted to hear what you maybe thought about it. But anyways, that was just my question.
Well, there are unfortunately shall we say, class of human beings who think that they are somehow above the rest of the human race and have an intrinsic right to make these kinds of decisions on behalf of, the whole human population. George Soros is one of them. We know that, Henry Kissinger was another one with that National Security Study 200 that he did. And this idea that, America as a policy should be covertly sterilizing women in these African nations where those indigenous people were just using up all those natural resources coveted by American corporations. And Richard Nixon did, in fact, adopt it as national policy for a while. There were several embarrassments when tetanus shots being given out by the World Health Organization were found to be tainted with a drug that sterilized women. And Gerald Ford, when he came into office and he saw that, and he was kind of horrified, and he ended the policy. But who knows if it's been continued since then, because there continue to be these stories coming out of these third world countries about scientific groups looking at the actual content of these vaccines and discovering that there's more in there than anybody's being told.
Absolutely. I got one last thing, Mike.
Yep.
If you're looking at some of these stories, whether it be on Yahoo, the New York Times, any of these stories where they allow comments in specific regard to the, us exiting Syria, I'm noticing that a lot of comments, an overwhelming majority of.
All right, listen, Steve, Steve,
Yeah.
stay on the line. I'm going to hold you over because we're out of time. We got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're still talking with Steve in West Virginia. And Steve, when we went to commercial break, you were talking about how the corporate media is reporting on what's going on over in Syria. And I think the reason for that is very, very simple. They're still trying to find a way to make it look like Donald Trump did something really bad. And unfortunately, Trump handed them a little bit of ammunition in that he misjudged Erdogan. From where I sit, I am pretty sure Donald Trump thought he could start pulling the troops out of Syria, thereby keeping a campaign promise, looking good to the American voters, and that would be the end of the story. And it spun out of control. And so I think, yeah.
So let me reframe my question real quick. If you read these stories, Mike, where they allow commenters, an overwhelming majority are saying, oh, we need to stay in there. We need to stay in there. But if you talk to any person on the street, they say, we need to get out. We need to get out. Here's my question. Are these people that are pro staying in there? Are these paid trolls? Are these paid people
they're either paid trolls or they're or they're automated systems. I mean, they've now developed automated systems that will load up news stories with comments that look like they're written by ordinary people to try and get the herd instinct working and saying, yes, 5,000 people say we need to go back into Syria. And then your average American just says, well, if they all think it's the right thing to do, then I guess it's the right thing to do.
Yes, I agree 100%. Mike, they're done though. Once Russia fills the gap and Turkey, it's over. They're not going to be able to get back in there.
Nope.
So it's a good thing. Thank you, Mike. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Chance in West Virginia. Aloha, Chance. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Michael, I have to respectably disagree with you. I think Trump should sue these disgusting degenerates and stop playing patty cake with them. It's way past time. Nobody's been convicted or been sent to jail. I think he should put on the gloves now and sue them, I think.
I wish he'd put on the presidential brass knuckles, but here's a practical question. On what grounds can he actually file a lawsuit against Pelosi and Schiff? Just because they don't like him? I don't think that's going to stand up in court. So far, neither Pelosi nor Schiff have committed an actionable offense, although Pelosi's discarding of due process by saying that the House does not even need to hold a vote on holding an impeachment inquiry. That's certainly going to put a tremendous strain on here. But I think that Trump needs to avoid letting Pelosi and Schiff recover the victim status because they've lost it.
I'm no big Trump fan after being disappointed by him, but let's face it, they're making false accusations. I would like to see him sue them. I really would. Well, that's just my opinion, Michael.
Well, that's okay. That's why we have talk radio, so people can get their opinions out there. But from a political, strategic point of view, I think it would be a mistake for Trump to do that. Not that Schiff and Pelosi don't deserve it, okay, but they'll use it against him. And I think that's a bad thing. Anyway, so thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are open. 800-313-9443, and getting on back to the situation that is devolving, if you will, over in Turkey and Syria. Trump, of course, has declared more sanctions. That's his knee-jerk reaction to the fact that, Erdogan called his bluff. And so he's out there saying the Treasury is ready to go. Sanctions for Turkey may be coming. Well, so far the response from Turkey is, big deal. You sanctioned everybody on the planet. We're all still here. The other issue is, of course, the fact that Turkey is sitting on 50, that's 50 U.S. tactical nuclear warheads as part of their arrangement with NATO. And so the question is, can Turkey do anything with those? Or if Syria were to capture the Incirlik base, would they do something with it? So we'd have to know about that. All right, we're going to start a phone call here with Dee in Minnesota. And Dee, I'm probably going to have to take you through the next commercial break. So what's on your mind?
Quite a bit. This whole business with Turkey and Syria for a start.
Yes.
Looks like the Kurds are aligning with Assad, like I said they might a week ago.
Yes.
Looks like that's happening. I don't know. It looks like it's... How do you sanction a NATO ally, for one?
See, that's the problem. And even worse,
and for two, why aren't we getting our nukes out?
Well, that's going to be the trick. What's the United States
going to do?
We can't leave those nukes there. Invade? No, we can't. What's the U.S. going to do? Invade a NATO ally to recover their weapons? Anyway, listen, Dee, stay on the line. Stay on the line. We'll take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus magful clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in...
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Dee in Minnesota, and we're talking about the situation in Syria, which is, as I was concerned was going to happen, is starting to spin a little bit out of control. The Kurds are now on the side with Assad. The Russians are coming on in. And it's a mess. And you know, I know that Trump wanted to do good. He wanted to bring the soldiers home, but he misread Erdogan's response. I think Trump thought that he was just going to bring all the soldiers home and Turkey would just stay right where it was. And that didn't work.
No, it didn't. And I don't know, ever since that coup, Erdogan's gone living La Vida Loca or something. He's just gone loopy or yumpy or something. He's just gone off the chain. I don't know. But I still think it was a good idea to get out. We need to get the nukes out, stop giving them to other countries.
Yes, I agree.
And I want to feel sorry for the Kurds. And a part of me does. But if you're dumb enough to trust this government, as many allies as we've messed around with,
yes,
you kind of had to expect what was coming. I mean, if you're
well,
that dumb after all this recent history to do it, to trust them, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry
it
to feel that way, but
the Kurds, the Kurds are feeling betrayed. They're feeling that Trump stabbed them in the back, and in a very real way, he did exactly that.
I'm sure the Iraqi Kurds felt like that. The Shia in Iraq felt like that. Saddam felt like that. Gaddafi felt like that. I mean, our credibility's shot, but it wasn't this. That ship sailed years and years ago, I'm afraid. It's too late now.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now all we have to do is we're just going to have to watch events play out and see what happens. Not much else we can do about it now.
No, but you're absolutely right. Those nuclear weapons are kind of critical, especially if Erdogan is able to crack the access code and demonstrate that it can detonate one of those warheads. I mean, that changes the dynamic of the entire region.
Well, what's even scarier is you've got ISIS prisoners running around.
Yes.
What if one of them got a hold of it? I mean, that's scarier even still.
I tend to think that ISIS lacks the technical skills to crack into, the arming system of the nuclear warhead. It all depends on what kind of weapon it is. I mean, for a while they were experimented with something that was called a single point detonation warhead, which would be very, very easy to set off. Are these in fact uranium fission bombs? Are they plutonium bombs? Considering that they're described as tactical weapons, which means low yield.
Excuse me. And also one final thing. Sorry. One final thing to that Jim guy who called.
Yeah.
And this depopulation business. I ran into one of those people at Occupy Wall Street.
Yes.
I got one question for you, Jim. If you want to depopulate anybody, do you want to set the example and start with yourself? If you don't, shut up.
Well,
I really get angry when I hear that stuff. It bothers me.
Jim wasn't.
It's people playing God. Not.
Well, I agree with you on that last part of it, but Jim wasn't pushing the depopulation agenda. He was pointing out where, for some reason, whoever is pushing depopulation seems rather obsessed with the United States. And
I think they want the whole world, but they'll take the United States.
Well, again, you've got whoever's behind the Georgia Guidestones. They think there are too many human beings on the planet, and they're right. There are, and that's because sex is a lot more fun than dying.
More fun than dying, and it's not our place to play God and depopulate. I'm sorry, but he is up there. It's not our job. Let him do it.
Well, sooner or later, he may evolve, a new virus that just comes and takes care of the job for us. Or, again, somebody could start setting off nuclear bombs and we could all die of radiation sickness. I mean, there's all kinds of potential. Actually, we're going to see mass famine on this planet over the next several years.
Probably if the economy goes down and these winter growing seasons get short.
Yeah.
Like they have been, I don't doubt it.
Well, we can start eating the tourists.
I mean, it'll start with the third worlders because they really don't have a lot of resources. And I don't like seeing any of that stuff. I want people to live and enjoy life.
Yes. I do too.
They have a right to do that. I'm sorry to have been so harsh, but that depopulation stuff really irritates me. I don't tolerate it, period.
Well, again, I'm in agreement with you. If you really feel there are too many people on this planet, there's a very tall building right there that you can walk off the top and have fun. Try and hit a central banker on the way down.
Yeah, at least take one of the central bankers with you, but start with yourself. Like I said, I saw one of them at Occupy Wall Street, and what I just said to Jim, I said to him, the exact same thing.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry to be harsh and blunt, but
no, I'm in
my
agreement. Too many people are think that they have this right to play God with the rest of the human population. Anyway, Dee, we're going to let you go. The phone lines are loading up, and we're going to switch over to Miles in Maine. Aloha, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Yeah, we're depopulating, and we're replacing with illegal invaders. What I wanted to talk about was this situation in Syria. I think the last caller said that now the Kurds are aligned with Assad.
Yes.
Well, if you ask me, I think it all works out pretty good because, that's what should have been going on all along instead of us getting into meddling around with Assad.
I agree.
So, now the Kurds are there, and maybe they might get something out of it from Assad, but the United States never had anything to give them anyway because they were violating the sovereignty of Syria in the first place.
You've nailed it right on the head. That's exactly what was going on.
Yeah, so I think it does help Trump out on a domestic level.
Yes.
Because we should have never been there. And I think Russia will end up driving Turkey out because Turkey is just a capitalist. They capitalize on anyone they can, whether it be Greece and those little islands over there or whatever. So I think in the end it's going to work out, and in the end it may even help the Kurds. I mean, I see no reason why we should have any real affliction for the Kurds, because if that's what we wanted to have, I mean, we didn't go there in the first place to give the Kurds some land. We went there to create havoc on Assad for Israel. So now the Kurds might actually end up getting a little piece of territory they can live on, mind their own business or whatever. And it would have been different if that would have been the game plan anyway. Of course, we could have done what we do everywhere else, just supply the Kurds with weapons, and we wouldn't have had to go there at all and look like an international fool by violating a sovereign nation's territory. So I think it will work out. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but thank God that Putin has a very mediating personality.
Yes.
And he's been really, I don't see how he could avoid the Nobel Peace Prize, because the 16-year-old from Sweden shouldn't even, anybody that would consider that would, I don't know, be a Democratic congressman, I guess. Anyway,
well,
Michael,
there's no question that the Peace Prize has been heavily politicized throughout the years, and it's a shame. I'm sure that Alfred Nobel would be appalled at the way the Nobel Peace Prize Committee just sort of hands these things out as political, dressing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, after Obama won it, after starting 2 or 3 wars, I mean, it like you said, it was really made a mockery. So hopefully we'll get, I don't know, how do we get some deserving people back and get rid of this chaos and corruption that's just infiltrated the globe, it seems like.
It's that, of course, is the question. And again, I see the United States as edging closer and closer to a Soviet Union-style collapse. And we as the American people, we need to be ready to take advantage of that. We need to regain our moral compasses so that we know what's right and wrong, and not let all this LGBTQ nonsense try and sell us this idea that, hey, whatever you want to do to yourself or especially to your kid, it's okay. It's all permissible. And I think it was Rush Limbaugh who said that what Barack Obama's real advantage was, Bill Clinton's real advantage was that he made us comfortable with our own weaknesses and failings. And that's not what we need in a leader.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, the people, they're coming around slowly but surely, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be a Soviet-style peaceful self-collapse where people are just going to recognize this is no longer functional, and we're going to have to put something in here that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, Miles, we're going to let you go here, and we're going to switch over to Jim in Illinois. Aloha, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Michael, Donald Trump should be impeached for stupidity and being so damn naive. He trusted the president of Turkey. He made that phone call to the president of Ukraine, and he was told not to. John Bolton, who he hired and fired, and now John Bolton is out for blood. And also, he trusted his friend Giuliani, and Giuliani is making a fool out of Donald Trump. And he probably will be the reason why Trump might be ousted or not reelected.
Entirely possible here. It's a tough call to make right now. But again, I'm a strict constitutionalist, and you're not allowed to impeach a president just because you don't like him. And this idea of secret hearings and secret trials, and Adam Schiff saying that we, the American people, don't have a right to peek behind the doors and see what's going on in the Star Chamber, because that's exactly what they've created, a Star Chamber. And they're going to go on in there with...
No, I was going to say, I agree with that part of it, but you have to ask yourself, John Bolton, why would you hire him to begin with? And Rudy Giuliani, granted, that's your friend, but you don't let your friends take advantage of you.
Well, you shouldn't. But again, with the case of John Bolton, I think that was a political payback to Sheldon Adelson. Just thinks,
and how did that turn out?
Well, didn't work out all that well. But, you know, Trump right now is convinced that Bolton is one of the primary sources for all this leaking misinformation about what happened in Ukraine. And the thing is, the way they're conducting the inquiry in the House of Representatives, we're not going to get the facts. We're getting a collection of rumors. We're getting a bunch of statements from witnesses who are not even going to appear in person.
Right, right. Well, Michael, look at the big picture, though. If you were president, would you hire people that you don't feel comfortable with, or would you just get rid of people to make sure no one is going to try and backstab you?
Well, I think when we talk about the blueprint for the new America, something that ought to be considered is a single-term presidency, because a first-term president is too easily manipulated by their concern that they want to run for a second term. So let's make it a 6 or 8 year term. That's all you get. Okay. Right. So when you come on into the Oval Office, forget about political favors, forget about the fundraising. You're not going to get it. You're not going to need it, because you're not going to be running again.
I would agree with that. And finally, as far as Hunter Biden, I was against that deal to begin with. I was very, very, very suspicious of that. But also, you have to look at the Trump's children. They were making money, and I don't agree with that either.
Well, the question is how much corruption was involved. And, you know, Hunter is now out there on the public record saying that he got all these sweetheart deals because daddy was the VP.
Well, look at the Trump's kids, especially the son-in-law.
Yeah. Well,
so,
yeah, they're exploiting their positions here. And the one who doesn't really need to, as far as I can tell, is Ivanka. That she is, in fact, she's a smart cookie. They ought to be running her for the White House or for Congress instead of Chelsea Clinton.
Oh, I would agree with that. But the thing with the daughter, she's smart, but she has a very crooked husband.
Yes.
So, well, Michael, I'm going to let you go on that note. You take care.
All right, thanks an awful lot. The phone lines are free, 800-313-9443. So basically, as of today, the Syrian army is taking control of key positions in SDF-held areas. Now, SDF stands for the Syrian Democratic Forces. They used to be allied with and supported by the United States. They're anti-Assad. And so apparently some arrangement has been made where the Syrian Arab Army for the government of Syria is now basically entering these areas. And there was a deal that was made. Now, they haven't revealed the details of the deal made between the SDF and Damascus, but it looks like the SDF may switch sides. Wouldn't that be a huge embarrassment? All righty, over in Yemen, the Saudi government and the separatist forces have reached an agreement regarding a power-sharing deal involving the port city of Aden, which is also the nation's capital. So it looks like they're trying to settle things down over there. That's been an absolute disaster. The fact that we're even involved in that at all is a mark of shame on our country's history. And everyone talks about Saudi Arabia's war on Yemen. It was never Saudi Arabia's war. It was the U.S. We'll be right back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And to sort of recap the history of Yemen, you need to understand all of these countries that the United States has covertly gone into and overthrown the legitimate elected government. They did it in Iran in 1953. They did it in Chile in 1973. And that's the way they like to operate. And they did it to Yemen several years ago. But the people of Yemen did not want to be ruled by a government that worked for a foreign power. I think all of us listening to this broadcast can understand that feeling. And so they basically, the people of Yemen, the Houthis, kicked out that puppet regime, and the U.S. wanted to force it back in there, but were aware of this growing discontent with wars in the American people. So they went to their good buddies, Saudi Arabia, and said, we're going to give you a bunch of money and weapons and stuff, and you're going to claim that this is your war. Except nobody's fooled by that. All right, let's take another phone call. Slim in Canada. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. I wanted to switch topics here. I know I've been hearing a lot of the topics, but right now, the number one topic that I have, maybe it's a biased opinion, is I'm not sure if anybody's heard of it, but there's over 100 to 114 fires that have been set in Lebanon in the last 24 hours.
I hadn't heard the exact number, but,
Sorry, go ahead.
I said I hadn't heard the exact number, and, sabotage, yes. Active war, yes. Or maybe they've got the Santa Ana winds and PG&E on the ground there in Lebanon. But we know that Israel has certainly been gunning for Lebanon. They want Hezbollah out of there. And Netanyahu right now is desperate to cling to power, or else he's going to go to jail for his corruption charges.
Yeah, I own a business here, and unfortunately, I listen to you all the time. I don't have time to call. Even at this moment, I have to make this call as short as I can. But okay. I went to Lebanon last year, about a year ago today, and I've seen some things that I've been wanting to tell you about, and this, that basically Lebanon is being killed from within already. They're already killing us from within. We have the highest amount of cancer in the world per capita. Our garbage level is at a ridiculous amount. There's garbage everywhere, and the the air quality is disgusting. And my uncle is also he's one of my family members that has been touched by cancer, and luckily he's on the up and up, thankfully. But I mean, that's another side point. The point is what I'm trying to say, and is that they don't have to invade Lebanon to kill us. They're already killing us, right? And these fires here are just like sort of a compucosm of what's been happening. And the fact that, that the media right now is worried about impeachment and this and this and this and all these other topics, stuff that, no offense. Oh, sorry, I hear your music going on.
Yeah, why don't you stay on the line? And we're going to hold you through the station identification break, so don't hang up.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, Your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. We're talking with Slim. Oh, I guess we're not talking with Slim, and we kind of misplaced him there. All righty. So Putin has been making comments. We reported on that, in fact, just yesterday, where he says Russia does not want to get into a new arms race. That's what bankrupted the former Soviet Union. It's what's bankrupting the United States, and he doesn't want to do that. And so he has basically come on out with a new proposal to basically restart the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. And he says, we need to have that back in place, or we're going to be in a new arms race. We're going to be, building bigger bombs and bigger rockets, and we're going to be spending the wealth of the people, on all this stuff, which no sane person wants to see actually get used. And if you have not read it or heard it, you need to go back and find Dwight D. Eisenhower's famous speech, A Cross of Iron, where he talks about just how much this stuff all costs. And we've all heard the jokes about $7,000 toilet seats and, $600 hammers and the rest of it. It really is true. I got to see a lot of it close up myself when I was involved in certain things. So the treaty expires, the current treaty, the START treaty, expires in 2021. And Putin says we need to work on extending it now. Unfortunately, the military-industrial complex is not going to be happy with that at all. Okay, we're going to take a phone call now. Nancy in California. Aloha, Nancy. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. I really like your introduction with what the Fukushima is going on. That's clever. So I wanted to talk about Donald Trump. I wanted to, because I hear insults from people who really should be grateful. So he has stood against the global warming agenda. Mm-hmm. I think that took a lot of strength. He has not given money to the UN. I think that takes a lot of strength. He has been standing almost single-handedly against this New World Order and these traitors within the Republican Party, like Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. That takes a lot of strength. I don't think that he particularly likes all the slander and the criticism and the backstabbing that he's experienced. I don't think that it's due to some big ego like that he's been accused of. So that's number one. Number two, if I can say something about Syria.
Well, before you do that, I want to remind you what Harry Truman said about the White House. He said it's the world's hottest kitchen, and it doesn't matter what you do, there's going to be some fool who doesn't like it.
Right.
All right, so on to Syria.
As far as Syria goes, the only person that I've heard that has supported Trump from Washington, from the District of Criminals, is Ron Paul.
Yes.
Ron Paul, one of my favorites, has said that what Donald is doing is correct. And I 100% support our president. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I agree with the idea of pulling the troops out of Syria. I want to be perfectly clear on that. Let me make one thing perfectly clear here. It's my Richard Nixon impression. I agree with pulling the troops out. But I think there were repercussions. Trump misjudged what Turkey's reaction was going to be. And that, I think, is going to wind up costing him. And, I mean, they're already mistakenly shelling U.S. forces. So we'll see what happens.
You know what? That does bring up another thought here.
Yeah.
That guy that criticized Trump for talking to the Ukrainian president, for goodness sakes, that's what presidents do. That's absurd for him to think that that was wrong. Oh, my goodness. Our president talked to another president of another country. The deep state doesn't like that because they like to be in control. How dare a president actually step outside of their bounds?
Well, you know, back when Richard Nixon reopened relations with China, and boy, did he get raked over the coals for that. And ultimately, I think it's one of his issues that ultimately led to his impeachment, along with, of course, obstructing justice and, you know, various other things. But yeah, when Nixon went to China, he took a lot of heat for that. China's supposed to be our enemy. You know, we're not here to be friends with the rest of the world. We're here to conquer and plunder and loot and pillage, because that's what makes empires great.
Right. You know what, Mike? That brought another thought that has slid it out of my mind, but if I can get it back, because it was a really good one.
Yeah, okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So, you know, my friend says, if you can't remember, it must not have been important, but it was important. Let me think. Anyway, I'm going to kind of try to drag it out so I can remember. So as far as...
we could put you on hold.
I remember.
Can put you on... Okay, you remembered.
I remember.
Okay. Yes.
Hey, the guy, and I can't remember his name, but we hung him right before he was hung and his neck was snapped. I mean, they did it in such an inhumane way. And I don't think it was even deserved. Hussein?
You mean Saddam?
Saddam Hussein, yes.
Yeah.
He warned
well,
us.
actually, let's be accurate. Okay, when you hang somebody and there's a clean break to the neck, that's actually the most humane way to do it. You know, it's
maybe that wasn't what happened then.
Okay, you know, it's slow hanging where
I just remember. Go ahead.
Okay, no, it's when you hang somebody on a rope and they just struggle and kick and try and they can't breathe, you know, and it takes them about 10 minutes to die. But
That's
if you do
how they probably hung him then.
No, actually, I watched the video of the execution, and I don't think he deserved to die, but they did do it in a humane manner.
He warned us, the American people, that we had a shadow government way back at that time.
Yep.
Because he had dealt with them.
Yep.
And it was a shadow government, I believe, that killed him, that facilitated his eventual death.
Well, basically, I mean, what the war was all about was what currency Iraq's oil was going to be sold in. And Saddam had gotten permission from the United Nations to sell Iraq's oil for the euro under the Oil for Food program. And that did not sit very well with people over at the Federal Reserve.
Right. Yep. All wars are bankers' wars. They are so evil. We need to rout them out.
I agree.
Anyway, so kudos to Donald Trump. And kudos to you, Mike. I think it's awfully hard to be on the air for 3 hours every day.
Yeah, it can get a little rough. It really can. Anyway, Nancy, thanks an awful lot for the phone call. And we're going to switch over to Steve Elkins. Aloha, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I think Donald Trump needs to emphasize and repeat, rinse and repeat over and over that video clip, which you can still find on YouTube, where Joe Biden is saying, we'll withhold the money. You know, I'm leaving in a couple hours. You know, you need to get rid of this prosecutor. And just the whole situation with Hunter Biden, no experience being on the board of this one of the largest national gas companies out there, and no experience. The $3 million kickback because of Vice President Joe Biden's influence on their politics or government,
which Hunter is now openly admitting to.
Right, he is, and he actually what he said today on an interview with ABC or NBC was, well, if I could go back and if I could have seen this and this, yes, it's inappropriate what happened, and it was illegal. And Donald Trump needs to just focus on that. Focus on that. Repeat it. So watch the video and just repeat that over and over again. And you can't erase it. It's out there. It was illegal. Yep. It's definitely a meddling. It's government meddling in politics and meddling, and you might say interference in an investigation. You got a conspiracy here, a true conspiracy, and he needs to focus on, turn the tables and said, here's the true crime right here, right here. Watch it yourself. You decide.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why Biden's support within the Democratic Party is on the wane, along with his many faux pas and his recent medical issues. And I think that's why they're all focusing on Elizabeth Warren. They actually think Pocahontas has a shot at unseating Donald Trump. That's why I'm concerned about Hillary stepping on in. And again, if Bloomberg comes on in, I think that would be a really good thing. It would shake up the Democrats. They would have absolutely nothing. They could compete against Bloomberg. And he knows the job. He's been a former mayor. He knows administration and government. And
I do believe
Hillary. Democratic platform. I mean, we've got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her "Let's build a bridge to Hawaii," and you've got Elizabeth Warren, who was out there screaming how she was fired for being too pregnant. I mean, it's just nonsense stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I think Hillary will return. I think she's looking for the spoiler, to be the spoiler.
Yeah.
Or find a spoiler actually on the Republican side and the Democrat side to take the votes away, and she could win by a narrow margin, including using some fraud in the election process. She wasn't successful last time. Doesn't mean she won't be this time. But what's really concerns me is the last couple pictures I saw of Hillary Clinton, especially this one where she's reflecting back on her marriage, 40 years of living with Bill Clinton, as if their marriage was such a great marriage. It's a scam, a sham. But did you notice that picture, how very large the woman is now? She's very, very big.
Yeah.
And she's showing to me, in my medical experience, she's showing signs of, the weight gain in the moon face is a sign of prednisone therapy, high doses of prednisone. I think the woman is very ill. Yes. I don't know what it is. I know she had some pulmonary, some lung issues, some balance issues, some other problems going on. When I saw that picture, the first thing came to mind was, wow, the moon face is a classic sign of prednisone, high doses over time, and the weight gain, the huge weight gain. I think the woman's very ill. If she were elected, I don't think she would see 4 years, but maybe she just wants to be president and then die in office, but at least she made it. But I don't think the woman's healthy. I don't think she's healthy at all.
Well, we know she's not healthy. I mean, there were all these incidents that happened in 2016, including the one where they literally bodily threw her into the back of a car to drive her away. And then they had that lookalike come on out an hour later and say, see, I'm fine. I'm really okay to be president, which nobody bought.
Yeah. What a scam. That's it, Mike. Thanks. Have a great show.
All right, thanks an awful lot here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Some room. All right, so getting on back. Little bit of good news down in Ecuador. As you're probably already aware, there have been 11 days of protests, state repression, and a lot of it had to do with this IMF program. It's a classic neoliberal program. It sparked a massive protest, indigenous groups calling for President Moreno's resignation. Well, the protests worked because Moreno has withdrawn the IMF decree. So you get enough bodies into those streets, can in fact make a difference. Just something to keep in mind there. All righty. I don't know why it took this long for it to happen, but Boeing's board of directors last Friday fired their top executive from the chairmanship position because of the 737 MAX safety crisis. So Dennis Muilenburg will continue to lead the company as CEO, president, and a director. David Calhoun, currently the independent lead director, was elected by the board to serve as the non-executive chairman. They have all these little titles that they pass out. This guy should have been canned as soon as it became obvious what was going wrong with the Boeing aircraft. And we're not just talking about the 737 MAX. As you know, there are issues with the 787 Dreamliner, the 777X, not to mention a lot of their military stuff. Okay, well, as you're already aware, somebody fired some rockets at an Iran-owned oil tanker in the Red Sea. Apparently, they've got them on video and confirmed that they really were rockets, and that Saudi Arabia may have launched them, or somebody who just wants to kick up a fuss in the Gulf area fired them. But it's made people very nervous in combination with the attack on the refinery. And so hedge funds are getting hammered in the oil markets. Nobody's really sure what's going on or what's going to happen and what's going to happen with oil prices. All righty. Apparently, WeWork is making the investment banks behind them very nervous. And it seems a bailout of the company could be imminent. This is coming from Financial Times. Sources told Financial Times that fundraising efforts are currently underway as the company's cash is about to be depleted. Now, the company lost $690 million in the first 6 months of the year, and it's expected to generate a loss from operations approaching $3 billion with a B, as it burns through tens of millions in cash daily. They're saying the company could be completely out of cash by mid next year. So many failed businesses, and they're all getting backed by these banks, and the banks are getting into trouble. And then they turn around and they go to the Federal Reserve and say, just make us some money. Buy the toxic assets. Make the American people pay for the losses. That's what the game really is. Go on out, make reckless investments. They don't work out. Dump the losses on the people. And that is the classic definition of a fascist economic dictatorship. You make money, you get to keep it. You lose money, the ordinary people are forced to cover the losses. Now, Bernie Sanders, whoops, something kind of silly, just give me a second. Bernie Sanders has come up with a plan. He wants to raise corporate tax rates to 35%, which is pretty high, and he also wants to ban stock buybacks. So I think Bernie Sanders is probably going to lose a lot of his support within the financial community. Because that's what the bankers want. The bankers think it is their right to loot and plunder the population any way that they can, including this legalized counterfeiting operation they've got called the Federal Reserve Note. All right, we're going to take another phone call here. Gus in Missouri. Aloha, Gus. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Gus, are you there? He dropped. Okay, fine. All righty. We've been talking about Facebook's attempt at cryptocurrency, or they called it a stablecoin project. It was named Libra, and it's dead. It's dead on arrival. eBay, Stripe, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, they've all abandoned this cryptocurrency. And I don't think it's necessarily cryptocurrency or Facebook itself. I think the bankers are waking up to the fact that cryptocurrencies are a monetary instrument for the people and by the people they can't control and exploit. I think that's what's going on here. And so we're going to see all cryptocurrencies come under attack. Okay, we're going to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. And we got back in touch with Gus in Missouri. Got past the little technical gremlins that are out there. So, Gus, what's on your mind?
Gus, after all these years, I've never heard if you know who's behind 9/11. Can you tell me exactly?
Well, I don't know exactly who's behind it, but it's clear that the U.S. government was definitely involved. The Bush White House was definitely involved, and Israel was definitely involved.
And that's it. And I've heard Giuliani was involved and ordered new walkie-talkies or whatever right before, and they didn't work. And Trump was also involved somehow.
Well, Trump was down
and
there.
The guy who owned the guy who owned the trawlers, he collected all that insurance on them.
Oh, he sure did. He sure did. He made out like a bandit. I mean, there were a lot of people involved in 9/11, but the idea is who came up with the idea and the plan at first. And you're absolutely right. Giuliani authorized the purchase of these new walkie-talkie radios for the firefighters that did not work inside the tower buildings, and that's why we lost so many of them.
And Trump, did you ever hear anything of his involvement?
I've heard, well, he certainly wasn't the president at the time, but he did go down to the scene. And he was interviewed on TV. And at the time he said, this had to be explosives because I know how these buildings are built. They don't just come down like that. And he even repeated that during the 2016 campaign, but now that he's president, he's back in line with the official story.
Wasn't a Bush involved in the company that set the explosives?
I don't know if he was involved in the company that set the explosives, but he was definitely involved in, I think he was in charge of security at the time that the bombs were being set.
One of George's brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We all set?
So that's about all there is to it, huh?
Well, no, I mean, there's a lot to it, but those are the major players. I mean, remember, Rudy Giuliani told the media that they had been told Building 7 was going to come down, and they had to evacuate the emergency command post. And then afterwards, somebody said, who is it who told you Building 7 was going to come down? Because it wasn't hit by an aircraft, and before 9/11 and since, no steel-framed skyscraper has collapsed solely from a fire. And Rudy Giuliani came on out and said, well, no, nobody told us anything like that. There's no cover-up. Then he reversed himself again and said, well, I forget who it was, but yeah, we were given ample warning to get out of the building before it came down.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Here, the phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. There we are. Okay, so going on back to the goodies here. A lot of people are still talking about how California's Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom, signed 15 gun-related bills into law while everybody else was paying attention to the PG&E wildfires, and basically just tightened California's already stringent Second Amendment restrictions. Now, one of the bills expands the so-called red flag law to allow coworkers, employers, and educators to seek gun violence restraining orders against firearms owners they fear are a danger to themselves and others. Now, this was vetoed twice by Newsom's predecessor, Jerry Brown. And as well, it should be, because you haven't committed a crime. You're being punished. You're having your guns taken away from you because somebody else is afraid of the guns. And that's part of the Democratic brainwashing. That's why they have these live fire drills in schools. They want the kids traumatized by the guns. Guns are bad. Guns are bad. We got to have the guns gone. What a different world it is from when I grew up. You got your first gun at 12 years old. You got the lecture on gun safety. If you ever misuse that firearm, you get a trip to the woodshed, would have you eating your dinner standing up for a week. We didn't have school shootings. Didn't even have murders. We had one attempted suicide in all the years that I lived in that town. Doesn't that sound a little bit better than these wackos with their brains filled with prescription antidepressants going into these so-called gun-free zones and just having at it? All righty, just when you think the liberals can't get any sillier than they have, apparently there is a remake of Cinderella in process. And Cinderella's godmother, one of them, is black and transgender. sure the liberal media is going to be out there saying, oh, this is wonderful. I wish they would stop messing with childhood classics. But it basically proves Hollywood has run out of ideas. They don't know what else to do. We'll take Moby Dick and we'll make Moby Dick gay. All right, we're going to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened? What's really
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And when Claire and I got over here this morning to do the show, I powered up this Hewlett-Packard laptop, and the very first thing it says, we are updating your Windows experience. Do not turn off the computer. Now, it didn't run for as long as it did the other day, but it is very annoying to have to go through this over and over again, whether it's Windows 10 or iOS 13, or now they've broken off a separate operating system for the iPad OS. And they put the stuff out there before it's really ready. They don't test it. It's just, get it out there and hopefully it's all going to work here. So apparently the last patch that was done on Windows 10 has created problems with the Start menu. And Microsoft is saying that, we may get them fixed by the end of the month. So, deplorable state of software development here. All right, article that came on out from Investment Watch blog. And I get so much of this stuff in email and phone calls as well. If your bank calls you and claims you had a fraudulent transaction, hang up and call back. Right now, the phone system is being just flooded by these spoof spammers. There are more spam phone calls going on America's telephone network than there are legitimate calls involving parents and children and family and relatives. I mean, it's insane out there. And they're using this social engineering to scare people into doing something. I got another one of those, we secretly recorded you, watching porno movies on your laptop, send us $3,000 in Bitcoin, or we're going to mail the video to everybody you know. Which, at my age, I'm not into that kind of stuff anyway anymore. But that's what they try and panic you. One that came in the other day was supposedly from Social Security. Your Social Security number has been used in a criminal transaction. Press 1 to speak to an investigator. And I just hung up. And the real danger for that is that there are going to be genuine calls dealing with genuine issues which are going to go unanswered. So these spammers and spoofers are causing huge amounts of damage to the American people. And the American government doesn't really seem to think that's a problem. Well, apparently liberals are now on the warpath against Facebook. And apparently Zuckerberg's crime was that he actually met with conservatives. So forget the privacy abuses and forget about the censorship and the rest. We've got to delete Facebook because Zuckerberg met with conservatives. How could he do that? All right, apparently Megyn Kelly is coming back to Fox News, but only as a guest. But I'm sure a lot of her fans are going to be very, very happy to see her on the screen again. All right, these next few stories. Well, actually, we're going to take a phone call before we do the stories here. Alan in Hickory Hills, Illinois. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Okay, I have the answer to your problems with Windows 10. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. When you go to the updates, you go like system security updates and you click on security and updates. If you look at that carefully, now I'm on Windows 10 Pro. What I'm able to do is I am able to delay updates 7 days at a time. So instead of getting updates on the second Tuesday of every month, I set in a delay factor. So my updates, so I update towards the end of the month, like the 27th or the 28th. Now let me tell you somebody else. There's a guy you need to check up on. His name is Woody Leonard, and Leonard is spelled in a real hard way. It's like Leonhard, Woody Leonard. Okay. And if you subscribe to his email and go to his forum, he has right now has declared an MS DEFCON level of #1. So he's saying basically, don't patch, don't update right now, whatever you do. So if you visit his webpage on a regular basis, when he goes to DEFCON 5, that means it's happiness time and you can update. So your problems can be solved by just delaying your updates, because Windows cannot force an update on you. They can't do it if you actually have that in Windows 10 Pro. Now, I have heard rumors that the common people on Windows 10 Home can do that also, but not being a common person, I don't know. So you will have to go and look for yourself, because I don't want to ask you if you're pro or home, but look for yourself, on update security and see if you have the option of delaying the update. And if you have, then you won't have any more problems. Just delay it till the end of the month, okay?
Well, that'll solve my problem with Windows, but how do I solve the problem with Apple's iOS? And more to the point, why am I having to do this? Why are we all having to work so hard? These machines are supposed to work for us. We pay them to get our work done, and instead we find ourselves as unpaid quality assurance inspectors for these computer companies who are already just insanely rich. And it's like they've come up with this attitude of, well, you should just be grateful we've given you a machine or sold you a machine at all. And, it's your responsibility. I mean, one of these days you ought to go ahead and read that end user license agreement. It'll just scare the heck out of you, where they basically say they have every right to take control of the machine and do whatever they want with it. What a far cry from the days of the Commodore 64. I mean, I really enjoyed that machine. That was a fun machine. It worked for me. And instead, we've got all this stuff here. It's all hideously expensive. It's being used against us by the scammers and the spoofers and the government as well. They're using it to spy on us. And the answer is why? Why should we be putting up with this kind of nonsense? Well, because we live in a fascist economic dictatorship. That's why.
Well, Windows has what they call an insiders group, and the insiders group is supposed to be people who are skilled programmers, and they're supposed to get the updates first and then report on bugs. And apparently the insiders group is not working effectively because you're right. Everyday people like ourselves, we're being hung by these glitches, and the insiders group is just not catching them soon enough. So I'd like to blame it all on H-1B workers myself, because I'm a racist savage.
I agree. And it's not just Windows, and it's not just Apple. It's also what killed Boeing. Okay, that some MBA said, we're going to make more money if we let go of all these old white guy legacy workers who grew up knowing how to make this stuff work. We don't need them. We don't, and we're going to get these H-1B workers who work for much less money, and they're students, and we'll just stick them in a cubicle somewhere and say, go ahead and make these changes here. And the next thing you know, you've got a 737 with these huge engines way out in front of the wing system, acting as spoilers. And
okay, but the problem there is the pilots who were flying those planes were from those S-hole countries, and they might have had IQs down in the range of 60 or 65 points. So it could be the ignorance of the pilot, and Boeing maybe is completely blameless, because I'm not hearing about any planes by German pilots or English pilots or French pilots that are crashing. What I'm hearing about is that in strange, mysterious countries where people live in tents, or not even in tents, they live in huts made out of tree branches, their airplanes are the ones that are crashing. So I would not blame Boeing or software guys. I would say I want to know what the ACT scores were for those chumps who were actually behind the stick on those planes. Well, big planes don't have sticks. They have, I guess they have wheels. Okay, Mike, I hope that helps.
Actually, they have side sticks now, which I think was a tremendous improvement. But here's the issue, okay? The airline companies that bought these aircraft were the ones who made that choice not to spend the extra money on this safety system, which had been standard on the 737 before. When you bought the plane, you got this safety system about an attitude attack disagreement. And these money junkies in charge of these airline companies said, we don't need to spend that money. Well, yeah, actually, you did. Anyway, Alan, we're going to let you go here. Thank you very much for the information on Windows. But again, my attitude is, after all the money that we spend on these machines and these devices, why are we having to work so hard to keep them going? Doesn't really make a lot of sense here. All righty. So we've actually been talking about this next topic for quite a while. I've been talking about it. And it seems like finally corporate media is paying attention. So over at Government Slaves, they have this historic Midwest blizzard has farmers expecting massive crop losses as devastating as we've ever seen. Now, 40 million Americans already don't have enough food to eat. It's about to get a lot worse. Now, National Geographic is out there sounding the warning. This one I'm not sure I go along with, but they're saying that billions of human beings face shortages of food and clean water over the next 30 years. That sounds more like some of this global warming scaremongering than actual science here. This is a problem. We had the flooding earlier in the year that wiped out the farm fields. Now we've got the wildfires, especially out in California, and we've got this record-setting blizzard. Isn't it funny? Have you noticed since this blizzard came on in, we're not getting those phone calls from those, global warming whack jobs? Say, the world is warming, the world is warming. No, take a look at the Midwest. That's your next dinner being freeze-dried in the ground. So it is amazing how much food we as a culture waste. Just getting it home from the market, we got to stop that. I mean, survival basically involves turning yourselves into a prepper. And you just don't waste food. You only take what you're going to eat. You put the rest back. And yeah, we're going to have famine in this country. Did you ever think you would live to see that happen in the United States of America? We used to be breadbasket to the world. I remember, again, back in elementary school, and they're showing us all these film strips and videos about America's agricultural ascendancy and how much better we were than the Soviets because of that. And of course, there was that big deal where the Soviet Union had to buy grain from the United States of America because of Lysenkoism. Another reason why you shouldn't have non-scientists making scientific decisions here. Now, this next story is kind of interesting. And it involves a man who lived for 8 years as a trans woman, but he has now detransitioned, which I'm not exactly sure how that works, if they kept certain components in the freezer or whatever. But he's called out that these parents who are encouraging kids to become transgender, they're guilty of child abuse. They're interrupting the child's normal development sequence. And so this guy came on out with this interview, was interviewed by Candace Owens, and this gentleman named Walt Heyer said, how his grandmother sparked the gender confusion by encouraging him to wear a purple dress at the age of 4, and how, as a result, he suffered sexual abuse at the hands of an uncle. How can you do that to a kid? You absolutely cannot. Sorry about the hiccups. Okay, so looking out the window, it is getting dark. I think we may actually get those thunderstorms tonight, which will certainly light things up. Getting on back to, here we are. Phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And apparently there was a big stink over South Park, which is, as most of you are already aware, this animated, very funny series. It's been on Comedy Channel for decades now, I think. Apparently, they did an episode talking about Scientology. And boy, oh boy, is that something you are not supposed to do. And they came on out basically with this whole Xenu story. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the core belief of the Scientologists is that the human race was planted here by this alien leader called Xenu, and that one day they're going to come back and collect all the well-behaving Scientologists and take them away. It's great science fiction, and you need to remember L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer. And this whole Scientology thing came about because of a bet with Robert Heinlein, where L. Ron Hubbard said, I'll bet I could get rich inventing a new religion. And boy, did he ever. Absolutely did. And Scientology, I mean, Lee Remini's out there with this series about the abuses. I mean, you think the Catholics are bad? The Scientologists, oh man, do not want to get involved with this. And, you know, they'll attack anybody that they think is an enemy. They have a special term for it. I forget what it is. Anyway, we're coming up here on the top of the hour, and let's get some phone calls in here. We'll be right back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves
and aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And I went back and did a search about this story about these fires across Lebanon. And apparently opinions are divided. There are some people saying it has to be arson, act of war. Others are saying, look, it's just the winds. A lot of dry brush and the winds have whipped up the fire. Same situation they're dealing with out there in California. So, but apparently the fires are very close to Beirut, and a lot of people are very, very concerned about that. So there we are. And get our clock back here. All righty. So apparently Colonel Douglas Macgregor was on the Tucker Carlson show describing Trump's brilliant strategic move regarding Syria as checkmate. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with the colonel. I mean, I agree with getting the troops out of Syria. I think Trump blew it. He completely misjudged what Turkey's reaction was going to be. All right, a lot of people still talking about recession threat increasing. The yield curve uninverts, always a bad sign here, and concerns that in the next economic downturn, Social Security could collapse, the 401ks could collapse, pensions could collapse. We're in a lot of trouble here. Maybe that's why they're trying to dazzle us all with this LGBTQ stuff, keep us from thinking about things they don't want us to think about here. So apparently, the National Rifle Association is now kicking up a fuss over the red flag laws. Now, the NRA had actually caused a bit of an upset within their membership that they were kind of okay with the red flag laws. And it's a gray area. I can understand what's going on here. In some states, if you are applying for a gun permit, they'll ask you right on the form, are you on prescription antidepressants? And if you answer yes, you're not going to get your gun permit. It's just like a car. You're either going to be stone cold sober when you handle the vehicle or not. And if you are on these prescription medications when you're handling a firearm, bad things can happen. But the other side of the issue is that people are being penalized, they're being punished, they're having their possessions taken without due process for having done absolutely nothing wrong. They're out there, they're scared of us. That's the only thing that makes any sense here. But this week in October is when the 1929 and 1987 stock market crashes happened. So, other opinions here. This one is, there's the top of the hour. All right, we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be right back.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And again, if you go to the top of whatreallyhappened.com, there's that gray box with permanent articles up there, one of which is my ClimateGate article. And one of the videos that is linked into that article is The Great Global Warming Swindle, which is a wonderful documentary pointing out how the evidence argued by the global warming crowd is a joke. And they're committing fraud. And the reason they're doing that is they want to impose their will to redistribute wealth so they do not feel inferior because other people have made money they only dream of having, but either are too lazy to work or lack the talents to earn the money. That's really what it's all about, redistribution of wealth. It's not fair that you've got a bigger house than me. It's bad for the planet. And, you know, Marxism was founded on this, where you had doctors should earn no more than a trash truck driver. And by earning more, you're suppressing others, even if you try and help them. That's their agenda. So we're facing this crisis for the Marxists who've usurped climate as the new excuse to end the freedoms that were once guaranteed by the Constitution we generally refer to as human rights. And they're becoming this force that immediately attacks anyone with their agenda intimidating politicians around the world. It's a modern communist revolution taking place. Otherwise, why would they have kept up with it for so long? Why would so many people be involved in what is such an obvious fraud? They really do, the liberals really do want this utopia, what they think is a utopia, where everybody is equal, nobody has a moral compass, you're allowed to pretty much do whatever it is that you want to do. And, you know, everybody shares all the available wealth. Well, you know something? Go back and study your history, because it didn't work in the Soviet Union, did it? They wrecked the place. Shouldn't be thinking about doing it here. It's just amazing here. All righty, let's see. We talked about Brennan already. There's a channel called YouTube Analyzed, and they're creating a database of all demonetized words and explaining how it works. And there's a link to it from the main page at whatreallyhappened.com. And yeah, we've got to start exposing this stuff. You know, Marxists don't want us sharing ideas with each other. They don't want you reading about ClimateGate and how human-caused global warming is a joke. You will believe as we tell you to believe here. Anyway, the World Trade Organization Monday formally authorized the United States to impose tariffs on about $7.5 billion, with a B, worth of European exports annually in retaliation for illegal government aid to Airbus. It's just how you become prosperous, how you make money, how you have a successful economy, how you have a successful country is really very simple. You make the best quality product you can, you sell it at the best price you can. Competition is good because it stimulates increasing quality and decreasing prices. That's how it used to work. That's how it did work in this country. So many years. Now we have all these giant monopolistic conglomerates like the Microsofts and Apple. And that's why they don't care about the quality of the product. It's not like we really have much of another choice out there. I mean, yes, there's Android. It's amazing. A little more feedback on that Project Veritas reveal, expose, if you will, on CNN. And apparently the CNN leadership has already decided that Elizabeth Warren ought to be Democratic nominee next year. They've forgotten about Pocahontas. They forgot about I was fired because I was pregnant. They just say they like her a lot. That's it. That's how we're going to choose the next leader of the United States of America is likability. Apparently over in Spain, they've had a court verdict on the Catalan pro-independence leaders. Stimulated some protests as well. And apparently over in Paris, firefighters are protesting the live streams. The whole world is protesting. It's amazing here. All righty. Yesterday we were talking about how Snopes, which bills itself as a fact-checking website, and it really isn't. They've been caught in so many goofs. Right now, they're not even doing the fact-checking agenda. They're pushing anti-Trump, pro-globalist, left-wing agenda. It's a full court press trying to get you to buy into this stuff here. Municipalities are going bankrupt everywhere. They're all out of money. A big part of that, of course, is going to be the cost of supporting all these illegal immigrants. How could a government make so many mistakes and just wreck this country, which I'm in agreement. At one point, we were the greatest nation on earth. We certainly aren't anyway. And I wish HBO would bring back that The Newsroom miniseries that they had there, especially that first episode where the Will McAvoy character comes on out and says, we're not the greatest nation. We've lost that, because that's the truth. Absolutely the truth. All righty, so parents are concerned if their children's schooling will fail to prepare them to survive in a high-tech future where the economy is driven by computers. And they're absolutely right. Because right now our public education system is all about political indoctrination. You'll believe in global warming. You'll believe liberalism is good. You'll believe in the gay children's hour at the library. By the way, the guy that did that turned out to be a convicted pedophile. Our educational system is, in fact, failing our kids. That's probably another reason why so many of these H-1B visa workers are getting into the United States. The local talent pool, they know what they're supposed to think. They don't know how to think. So I think that, yeah, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that's where the future is going to be for all these kids here. You want them to be a truck driver their entire life. And those are all being automated. There's a problem you got to think about. All the future jobs that might be out there and might be gone by the time that your children get out of school. They're automating the trucks, they're automating the cars. There's really not a whole heck of a lot left for ordinary human beings to even do anymore, except borrow and spend and borrow and spend and borrow and spend and spend. Now, apparently, latest polls are showing that Trump is winning over the never-Trumpers. The Democrats and the media continue their downward spiral. And I would ask you all to take this latest Project Veritas videos and share them everywhere that you can to remind everybody of why CNN is unreliable. All righty. Apparently, 911 dispatchers are about to join the ranks of district attorneys using closed-circuit television cameras to monitor the public. Last week, Central Square Technologies announced they're working with Genetic to turn 911 dispatchers into an arm of the surveillance state by giving them real-time access to more than 30 million CCTV cameras. I don't know about you. I don't like spying. I'm a very private individual. I'm not doing anything. Why do you need to watch me? What I want to know here. Oh, I can see the feminists getting upset over this next one. Cornell University did a very simple study. They went out and they talked to a bunch of women and they said, what's more important to you when you're considering, a male partner, looks or money? Most of them said money. So Cornell concluded that most women are gold diggers. Not all, thankfully. Apparently over in London, Extinction Rebellion, which we reported yesterday, is actually paying protesters to be out there in the streets. Okay. They're defying the blanket ban on climate protests, and they're saying, we're acting on behalf of life. Use that excuse, for anything. We're here protecting whatever. All righty. Let's see. Here is a good example of creeping urbanization, if you will. This is taking place out in Moab, Utah, and it's an immigration-driven overpopulation nightmare. And this guy is writing this article saying, for over 40 years, my wife and I enjoyed our visits to Moab, Utah, and Arches National Park, which if you've never been there, it is gorgeous. It is really gorgeous. So this year, during their bike tour around America, they stopped into Moab to find a living, breathing nightmare come true. In a little town of just 5,200 people, developers constructed motels to hold nearly 10,000 beds. They somehow either bribe, extort, or simply overpower the Moab City Council. Money, money, money. In a city that can only handle 5,000 people, developers overwhelm everything with motel beds and then flee the area to spend their money. Now, Claire and I actually saw this when we lived in Washington State, because where we lived was very, very rural. But toward the end of our stay there, it was being turned into what was politely called a bedroom community, where they were basically taking these farm fields, converting them into housing plots, charging a bloody fortune for them. And it just started getting crowded. Getting back on over to Spain and Catalan, apparently their largest single tourist provider, Thomas Cook, has collapsed. It's stranded 100,000 tourists. Can't get home, can't get out to the hotels or whatever. And Spain is launching their first bailout of its huge tourism industry. So it's, anyway. Paul Craig Roberts is out there reprising his article on how the oligarchs will deliberately crash the system to get rid of Donald Trump. And I keep wondering, why? I mean, I know he's anti-globalist, but as far as everything else his opponents wanted, he's given them everything. He's given them the wars. What is it that they're just so upset with this guy? Alrighty. Here's an interesting little article, and it's kind of a gray area, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. This is from Ethan Allen, and says it's time for patriots to declare war on Antifa terrorists. And I think this article was tripped off by the fact that a woman was simply sucker punched by an Antifa activist, if you will, seriously hurt. But basically, Antifa is acting as an international terrorist group. It operates in many European countries as well as the United Kingdom. And Antifa is only part of a much larger spiderwork of anti-American terrorist groups, all founded and organized by Barack H. Obama and run via the central organization known as Organizing for Action. And there is a lot of violence out there, and I'm sure that George Soros is involved with some of this stuff. But yeah, we really can't tolerate this kind of behavior. So let's see. Last Wednesday, Trump says we're getting out of the endless wars. And then on Friday, the Pentagon announced deployment of 3,000 to Saudi Arabia. Apparently, over on CNN, Adam Schiff was being interviewed, and Virginia Kruta from the Daily Caller said that CNN guest Linda Chavez criticized House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff during a CNN panel Sunday, saying that he'd caused himself a lot of problems with regard to the impeachment hearings. And yes, he has. And so has Pelosi. They have not handled this in accord with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. And I think the reason that Adam is now taking this attitude that you, the American people who after all pay for all of this, you have no right to look at the proceedings anymore because it's not holding up. It's coming apart. This whole impeachment thing is blowing up in their faces, as well it should. So apparently the Russian Navy is holding military drills off the Syrian coast. The Russian Navy's missile frigate Admiral Makarov held a gunnery exercise in the East Mediterranean. Ship Commander Captain Second Rank Anton Kuprin said on Monday. I remember one time when we were still living on Oahu, and they were having an artillery exercise that could be heard all over the island. And I had to call a friend of mine who's in the police department and saying, I'm hearing all these explosions. Are we being invaded? And he said, no, it's an artillery exercise. But apparently Russia is modernizing their Navy, and they're preparing for a new flight test of the Zyklon cruise missile. This is a hypersonic anti-ship platform that will hit speeds of Mach 9 and perform complex in-flight maneuvers. This is going to be something America's defenses can't shoot down. The missiles are capable of engaging targets at ranges of up to 1,000 kilometers, unrivaled by existing anti-ship platforms other than the subsonic Chinese YJ-100. Oh, and by the way, they're still having problems with those elevators on the Gerald R. Ford. Can't get them to go up and down, and it's the aircraft elevators and also the ammunition elevators. So Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has said they have video footage of the Iranian tanker being hit by at least 2 rockets in the Red Sea off the coast of Saudi Arabia. It sounds to me like Rouhani is really pushing that this came from Saudi Arabia, but I wouldn't leap to that conclusion. Saudi Arabia's got nothing to gain by getting into yet another war for the United States. Could have been fired from, unless you've got fragments of the rockets, you really don't know where they came from. Could have come from a Russian submarine. I'm sorry, from an Israeli submarine. And of course, everybody's still worried about those nuclear weapons at Incirlik. That would be a heck of an ace, a hole card to have. Remember over in Fort Worth, there was this ugly, ugly incident over the weekend where this police officer shot a black woman inside her home, killing her. He resigned the police force. They've now arrested him for first-degree murder, as well they should. We'll be right back. Join us on the air, 800-313-9443.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to getthetea.com and purchase your Super Strength Cleansing Tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com for Super Strength Tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And apparently Fox News fired Trey Gowdy over this report that he was getting involved with Trump's legal defense team. And now we're hearing that there may have been nothing to that report at all. It was somebody's idea of fake news. And it's amazing how dirty things are in corporate media. And, you know, I shouldn't be surprised. I worked in the entertainment industry for a lot of years, and I saw a lot of really ugly, ugly stuff. So anyway, let's see. So Trump has hit the Turkish ministers with sanctions. He's raising the steel tariffs. And so far, the reaction's been kind of lukewarm. You know, when you overuse a weapon, like a sanction, after a while, people just stop caring anymore. A lot of people are still talking about that bogus story where ABC News aired footage taken at a Kentucky gun range like some years back, and they aired it claiming that it was Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians, and it was all the fault of Donald Trump for pulling the U.S. forces out of Syria. Okay, yeah, Antifa sucker punch female Trump supporter leaving the rally in Indianapolis. All right, so let me go back here. Apparently, tonight's Democratic debate was fiery. They took the gloves off. Fireworks flew. Gonna have to look at the replay of that when we get back there. And let's see, Giuliani says he's not going to comply with congressional subpoenas. As the U.S. pulls out of Syria, Russian forces swoop in. Okay. Pardon me. Okay, White House issues plan to lift long-standing logging limits in Alaskan rainforest. Oh, is that going to make the liberal environmentalists happy? All righty, it's irrelevant. So getting on back here. Apparently, France is now going to roll out nationwide facial recognition ID. And you can say a lot of things about Amazon, good and bad. And unfortunately, or fortunately actually, where Claire and I now live, it's a long drive to anywhere. And so we're finding ourselves ordering more and more of the stuff that we need that can't be acquired locally on Amazon, like some of the stuff that the movers wrecked in her office. Okay, blooms of potentially toxic algae have become more intense over the past 30 years thanks to climate change. Actually, no. What it is farm chemical runoff. And there's a story that comes on out here, and it says fertilizer runoff overwhelms streams and rivers, creating vast dead zones. Everyone always talks about sustainability. We're going to do how about sustainable farming? And you start by getting rid of some of these chemicals. So I think we already talked about this. Dealership in South Carolina has this epic auto sale bundle. Carlos Garcia from the Blaze reports a car dealership in Honea Path, South Carolina is offering everyone who buys an automobile an American flag, a Bible, and a voucher for a Smith & Wesson AR-15 rifle. Sounds like a really sweet deal to me. One of the things I like about this neighborhood that we're living in now is there's a lot of American flags. They're proud of their country around here. Okay. Still talking about Jeff Epstein, Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations. We're never going to find out all that was going on over there. But we do know that Giselle Maxwell apparently has now been traced down to Brazil, to a resort there. They never should have let her out of the country. Apparently, Edward Snowden has gone public about some of the nastier things from Joe Biden's past. Way to go, Edward. Now, here's an article, and apparently there's this professor of marketing science, director, Ehrenberg Base Institute, who's saying that he's changed his mind. He was wrong about global warming. It's not really happening. Climate change always happens. It's not our fault. We'll be right back after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate. I want to do just what
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And again, the phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Interesting little article came on out talking about a possible mandate for electric vehicles. And as you know, you've got your regular gearheads and your ethanol proponents versus the electric car people. Now, it's probably going to surprise a lot of you. I do think electric cars are the wave of the future. I'm opposed to a mandate. I'll make the decision what car I'm going to own and when I'm going to own it. I mean, unless the government wants to give them away for free. And right now, there's a lot of cars sitting, brand new cars that they can't sell sitting on lots. They ought to start thinking about giving those to the American people, the legal American citizens. But the idea here is that whatever is going wrong and the government doesn't know how to fix it, well, they'll just issue a mandate and say, yes, you're going to buy this by this year, which is all well and good, except there is still a big gaping hole in the whole electric vehicle phenomenon. And that is, where's the electricity coming from? It doesn't just appear magically out of thin air. Somewhere off on the horizon, there's a nuclear reactor or a coal or oil-fired power plant. If you're lucky, you've got a waterfall, hydroelectric. And right now, they're trying to encourage electric vehicles with free charging stations, but they're not going to stay free. Nobody's just going to give that away. That's the part that's missing. And until a clean, reliable, renewable source of electricity to keep those cars running comes along, it's an idea that sounds good, but it really isn't. All righty, let's see. Apparently, the CEO of Theranos, who was promoted by Obama, Clinton, Biden, has just gone broke. And her own lawyers are jumping ship. She's learning the hard way that she was just a front. That happens a lot too. I mean, look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Okay, article I'm looking at here. Apparently, Twitter has decided that they're going to come to the defense of their good buddies over at CNN because, according to stats, over 200,000 people were tweeting about Project Veritas with the hashtag #ExposeCNN. But when James O'Keefe would start typing expose into the Twitter search, it would give him search results for things like expose Fox and expose James O'Keefe. So he looked into it, and there were about 60 people tweeting about expose James O'Keefe. So in other words, Twitter is trying to censor Project Veritas. Twitter wants to decide for you what you're going to see and what you're not going to see. And what they don't want you to see is the fact that CNN is biased, that they have an agenda. It's time to reread 1984, go back and hunt down that wonderful movie with Richard Burton. And God, I'm blanking on the guy who played the High Chancellor in the V for Vendetta movies, that guy. Anyway, say again? Yes, John Hurt. There's a story, and there's even a movie about it where John Hurt got cancer, and apparently he had a horse who also got cancer, and they both got cured, covered, and they made a movie out of that as well. I forget what it was called. All righty. The future of Syria and Venezuela are being played out simultaneously and in parallel. The origin of these conflicts is the strategy of the Pentagon of destruction of the state structures. I was talking about this earlier in the program, where the U.S. agenda has been for years now to go into other people's countries and muck about with their legitimately elected governments. And as a matter of fact, if you go to, there's a quote, I think it's quite appropriate right now. It's at the top of the main page of whatreallyhappened.com. And it's by Henry Kissinger, who said, and I quote, "I don't see why we need to stand by and watch a country go communist due to the irresponsibility of its people. The issues are much too important for the Chilean voters to be left to decide for themselves." And this is what led to the overthrow of socialist president Salvador Allende in 1973. Now, here's the situation that's going on. Those voters wanted to vote themselves better lives, while the money junkies wanted to simply vote for more loot and more plunder and greater riches for themselves. That's really what the war is about. Now, at heart, I'm an old-fashioned capitalist. But if I am forced to choose between socialism and fascism, I'm going to go with socialism. I don't want to have to make that choice, but I have been thinking about it. Okay, apparently, let's see, story out of Investment Watch blog. The corporate media is committing active sedition, marching America into impeachment and nullification of the 2016 election. And I read another article the other day that said that may actually be the plan. To get Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, declare the 2016 election completely irrelevant, and install Hillary Clinton without even having a new election. All right, we're going to take a phone call here from David in California. Aloha, David. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Who's your daddy? How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing okay. It is so cold here.
I'll bet. You know, it's probably 70 degrees. You're just not used to it.
It is, in fact, he said, turning the little dial. It's actually about 44.
Ooh, it is cold. Hey, I just wanted to make a correction here on something you said about 5 minutes ago about the debates, because you said, hey, the gloves are off, they're really battling it out and all that stuff, and it hasn't even started yet.
Well, apparently I'm getting a report.
What?
When does it start?
Starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Okay, so that would be 7 o'clock here.
No, it'd be 8 o'clock. Well, are you in Central?
Yeah, we're in the Central time zone.
Oh, okay.
The border between Eastern time and Central time is about 5 miles that way.
I don't love it. Oh, man. You know, it just you caught me off guard because I really want to watch it. I popped some popcorn and get a hoot out of it. And I hadn't even popped popcorn yet, so it made me a little nervous. So I went over, I checked CNN, and they're not showing anything yet. So I just wanted to make sure that people knew.
All right. Well, I made a mistake and I misread the time. And but there was this story that was put up on Apple News, you know, saying what to watch for in tonight's debate. And apparently there is somebody out there who just has an inside track on what's going to be happening.
Well, I mean, you know, it wouldn't be that big of a stretch to think that they're going to take the gloves off and stuff. I mean, how could they not? But I just wanted to make sure that people weren't missing it for those who are trying to make popcorn right now.
Well, definitely, I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch this one. A lot of times I don't bother with the debates and everything, but it's time for there to be a shakeout.
Boy, no kidding.
And see what's happening. But apparently, right now, Liz Warren and Joe Biden are tying in the polls, and that's why Bloomberg is talking about coming back in.
Yeah. Well, you know, and of course, Buddha, whatever his name is, had mayor experience too. I don't know. Does that count?
Well, I don't think he's made the headlines that Bloomberg has, you know, but Bloomberg's got a lot of his own money that he can, that he can throw into the mix, as it were.
Well, I hope I can hear you guffaw all the way from Hoosier land there, and I'll be listening.
All right. Well, it will be an interesting show. What can I tell you?
And tell Claire hello for me. We really miss her on Fridays.
Okay. Well, you know, We had to leave my office and my studio to last, but it's going to get done this weekend. I'm actually going to be using this setup to broadcast from our domicile tomorrow to make sure everything's working. But we've hired a neighborhood kid who's going to come on over and just help get things unpacked. And I'm just praying, even though I'm an atheist, that big computer of mine and its monitors all come up and it all starts to work here, because we did lose and have wrecked a lot of equipment in Claire's office, and it is. This has been a horrible experience overall, and I'm just ready for it to be over.
Well, I am too for you. I really we feel your pain, and thank you. And you sound great, man. I hope you're feeling as good as you sound, because you really sound wonderful.
All righty. Okay, apparently John Stedmiller says it's 73 degrees outside. Okay, unfortunately, sometimes these buildings, because of all the insulation, they're actually colder inside. But, that's why I'm wearing the Stargate jacket. And like I said at the top of the show, we had somebody who just sent us these two beautiful, heavy winter coats. They're actually too heavy to wear now. But, coming from Hawaii and everything, all we had was I got the Stargate jacket, and I've got this old Stunts Unlimited jacket that fits Claire perfectly, and that's it. So, we're settling in, and like I said, people are sending us clothing. All right, we're going to let you go, David, here, and go back to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Michael, good day to you. And real quickly, yeah, it's listening to Chucky Smucky Schumer today, and he's talking about Trump as being delinquent, is dereliction of duty and all that, dereliction and all this. As president, I'm saying to myself, and I'm hearing the other idiot, Democrat. I mean, the guy from where's it, Oregon? What's his name? I can't remember. He's a heavyset guy. And Wall or something. They're talking about Trump's dereliction of their duty. Michael, what about these sanctuary cities that these Democrats are allowing to happen? The border being invaded. You talk about dereliction of duty. Schumer should be locked up with handcuffs. The key should be thrown away. Trump should have the feds go arrest all these senators for allowing the dereliction of duty, never doing nothing about immigration.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I absolutely agree.
Republicans too.
You know what Chucky Schumer is saying. When Chucky Schumer says dereliction of duty, it means Trump isn't killing the people that the military-industrial complex think ought to be dying right about now.
That's so correct, Michael. And that's why I love your show, because you get to the point when it comes to this real nonsense. And the real nonsense is, we talk about something we don't agree on, but most of the time 90%, like with Dustin, I agree with a lot of Dustin. But look at the state of New Jersey. Look at New York. These people are controlled by, they're like robots. They have to kiss butt to those Democrats that are socialist Bolsheviks that are running those states into the ground. I mean, those states are run into the ground. California, it's disgraceful. And you got Schumer saying the president of the United States is doing dereliction of his duty, and you got that big Pelosi in San Francisco. She's worth $48 million. Well, hey, Nancy, why don't you take $40 million and feed all the homeless over there and buy them all brand new igloos to live in, Nancy?
Yes.
Buy them those fiberglass houses they got over there. I mean, you got these lying Democrats. Yeah, go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it's very angering that people who genuinely are trying to help, certainly the homelessness situation, and they're actively being opposed by the city government. That guy who was out of his own pocket building these little tiny shelters, and the city of San Francisco just said, no, you got to tear them all down. They don't follow the rules.
Absolutely. Michael, I want to make a correction for yesterday's show. I called in. I said the guy was a family member. I correct myself. He was a neighbor. I found out the guy that shot the 5 people at the dinner table, he was a neighbor. Yeah. He wasn't a family member. He was the neighbor.
Okay.
It was like he lived in an apartment building or something with them, so I'm just correcting that. But getting back to what Schumer and the Democrats are allowing with the board, Michael, they won't even give Trump $2 billion, but here it's already caught on OAN. I was watching OAN today. It's $208 billion already been spent this year on these illegals. For medical care, for health. I mean, who's kidding who? And these people are not being arrested. These people are dereliction of duty. The Democratic Senate, the Democratic Congress, and even the Rhino Republicans and the Rhino House members, the ones that are now following the rule of law, they should be put in jail. These mayors,
I agree.
These people allowing this invasion. I can't believe nobody's got arrested. You know what? Dustin's right about it. I don't see anybody getting arrested, even with this Mueller crap. That lame brain Mueller. What they're accusing Trump of Russia collusion.
Yes.
No one got arrested was Manafort and what's the other guy? The general, the colonel, whatever. Can't think. You know who I'm talking about. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. I guess he's his name, Irish name. But anyway,
after 3 hours of radio, my brain is on puree.
Yeah, I tell you, I go blank with him. I know Manafort and whatever his name. You know, but anyway, these guys went to jail, lost their fortunes and all that. But the Democrats, nobody loses a fortune here. Biden's son's not saying he's innocent. He didn't do that. Hey, how are you making $1 billion, buddy? You were kicked out of the United States Navy for doing cocaine possession.
Yes.
2 days later, you're working for the Ukrainians. Who's kidding? Biden's the biggest hypocrite there ever has been. That guy. You know, he's bumbling on everything. And you know what? This guy's 77. He'll be 78 years old if you were to get to the White House. And Bernie will be 79. These guys are almost 80 years old. They can barely remember who their name is.
No, I'm in agreement.
You got going around.
You've got Jimmy Carter was out there the other day saying there has to be an upper age limit for the presidency. And I would argue that should apply to Congress as well. We need sharp, humane, smart people who, in the halls of Congress. How did Mark Twain describe it? Congress, that fine old benevolent institution for the helpless.
Exactly. And, I don't believe anybody should be president after 72 years old. At 62, you can get Social Security. At 72, you're already almost halfway. You're in the horizontal box almost. You're almost going into the horizontal box. I mean, these people are crazy. You don't want to run after 72 years old. I mean, come on. Your brain's going down. Come on. They need to have a federal law. 72, that's it. You can't be a president after 72 years old. If you're already in the presidency at 72, fine.
Tom, we got to let you go. Got to take a commercial break.
Have a great day.
We've got one final call that we're going to take on the last segment of our program today, so stay tuned.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. And during the commercial break, I walked over and I took a look at the thermometer on the inside wall here, and it's 65 degrees. So that insulation kind of works in both directions, for and against you. Okay, we have 2 callers left on the line. I'm going to try and get through both of them, starting with Fred in Iowa. Aloha, Fred. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hegelian dialectic, but I'm 82. Can I speak?
Yeah.
I'm 82 years old. The tallest building we have in my town is 4 stories, and to take care of overpopulation, I don't know if 4 stories would kill me outright. It might make me. But anyhow,
I see where you're going. Well, you know, I mean, you didn't strike me as that kind of individual, and you know, population control at the individual level is never going to work anyway because you know of the birth rates in here. But again, we know that various government programs, including the United Nations, are covertly sterilizing women, and I understand their thinking that this is somehow necessary, but I definitely disagree with it. And I'm sorry, maybe that's because I'm a humanist. And
well, on RBN's, can I talk?
Yes.
On RBN's homepage, is America in her final days? Will America be here the next year, next decade? And that has nothing to do with religion. I would suggest you read the whole damn thing and then scroll down to an article on the left. This is by Paul Craig Roberts. Obsolete left-right paradigm, stifling masses awakening. Read that, and then you'll understand the Hegelian dialectic, which you do not and don't want to know it. But give it a go.
Actually, I do understand the Hegelian dialectic here. Fred, we're running out of time. I'm going to switch over to Slim in Canada. Slim, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Wow, that was interesting.
Yes.
Sorry. Hey, Mike, I called earlier, and I'm just here to call back because the reason why I called mostly is because, as I was said before, there's a lot of fires happening in Lebanon. And what mostly saddened me was there was a video that's going viral amongst the Lebanese population that's of foreigners that are Lebanese, you know, people that are refugees in Lebanon, filming the stuff happening and laughing and celebrating while people's homes are being burned down. These are wildfires, but these are mostly like like residential areas, people's homes, and, you know, a lot of infrastructure that's being lost and burned down, unfortunately.
Well, it is unfortunate, and having been through a house fire myself in my youth, I can empathize with what they're going through. Okay, there's the music. Thank you for the
Thanks,
call,
Mike.
Slim. We're going to let you go. Stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you, like the current temperature in Santa Claus, Indiana. And again, spread the word of RBN, spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Thank you for all the contributions and support, and especially the warm clothing that you've been sending on in. So we'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.